Hello, YouTube, back again with another video. This time another tier, make your list of the best and worst quarterbacks in the league, in no particular order other than by the categories. They're trying to order them as best as possible, but don't take them as gospel. They're just in the categories as they are, and I'm going to go through all these categories as they go along. But as always, if you like what you see here, and you've liked anything in the past, give it a like, give it a subscribe, comment, and all that fine stuff. And at the fine social media platforms in the description below. I'd like to talk this out. And we don't need to call anybody an idiot, but if you think I'm an idiot for the rankings that I put out here, let me know in the comments, and I'll fight you there. But let's get back to the tier list, and we have Super Bowl contender. Any quarterback in this tier can take your team to the Super Bowl and win it. Real potential, these are rookies or second years or just guys that are just on the cusp of greatness and just need time to show what they can do. Will win you or lose you a game. These are quarterbacks that have been journeymen or the quarterbacks that you can put or plug in a pinch and win you some games, maybe get you to the playoffs, but also very possibly lose you a game as well. And your season is over. Any quarterback in this category are teams that if you're starting this quarterback, your season's already over, or you're starting quarterback hurt and you're just looking forward to next year. And injured, of course. There's only a couple in this category, but these quarterbacks are guys that I just don't see playing this year, barring a miracle. But let's get to the tier list. And of course, number one, we have Patrick Mahomes, who's clearly the number one quarterback, still can make any play, throw it down the field, escape, is clearly incapable of getting injured for a long time, has a great team around him, and he's the king of the NFL. And you gotta beat the king to beat the king. I defy you to find a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, and I'd love to hear your reasoning. If anybody can honestly do that, please. I don't like the Chiefs, but I gotta recognize real, and he's clearly the best. And we'll see what happens at the end of the year. If the NFL will allow him to succeed the Golden Boy as the best quarterback of all time. But that's still many years down the line, but we'll see what happens. Next we have Joe Burrow. Sadly, he got injured. The thing against the Bengals is, can you protect Joe Burrow from getting injured? Because if you can't, your team's not going to go very far. They have a great team around him, a great group of wide receivers. Joe Mixon, hopefully he can bounce back. Hopefully the offensive line can be better than they were last year after spending all that money on the offensive line. Still have a good secondary, still have good pass rushers. The thing is, can you keep Joe Burrow healthy? And if you can, a Super Bowl is very near in your future. Next we have Josh Allen, and people forget, he was a great quarterback last year. Before he got injured, he was leading the NFL for MVP. He was great. He was throwing out fantastic numbers, but once he got injured, the interceptions started to pile up, the turnovers started to pile up, and they just had more injuries, and the team just wasn't able to be what they were. And after the Damar Hamlin situation and that debacle in the playoff game last year, they just need some good news. Or Josh Allen is the closest thing to Brett Favre we have in today's game, and hopefully he can finally bring his team to the promised land, at least get there. Maybe not win it, but at least get there. That city of Buffalo is very much like Green Bay, and they need something good to happen. Next we have Jalen Hurts, who lost the Super Bowl last year, but was clearly not the reason why they lost. That team fell apart at the end defensively and allowed the Chiefs to win, but Jalen Hurts is great. Hopefully he can keep that game going. Hopefully he can keep his legs going, because who knows what he can do if he doesn't have his legs available. Still have a great team. Lost a little bit on defense, but Jalen Hurts still going to have a big year fantasy-wise. Big year yards, touchdowns, rushing touchdowns as well. A.J. Brown is his great target. And, of course, you have some new targets, DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny. And he's still going to be up there for MVP rankings and potentially win an MVP. But we'll see what happens. Maybe a Super Bowl. They're probably going to win their division. Sorry, Cowboys fans. You got to beat the king to get that top spot. But next we have Justin Herbert, great quarterback in his own right. We saw what happened last year when the Chargers were unable to protect him. He got clobbered, had broken ribs for most of the year, and his performance clearly suffered. And hopefully that offensive line will be a little better this year. Hopefully they can keep Austin Eckler happy, because if they can't, who knows what this team will be without Austin Eckler. But Justin Herbert, so is all the receivers, so is so many weapons. Hopefully that defense will continue to get better, and Joey Bosa can stay healthy through the year. But Justin Herbert, as long as he's healthy, can be up there for MVP, can potentially take that team to the Super Bowl. But can they overcome the curse of Dean Spanos? We'll just have to wait and see. I'm very excited to see what he can do when he's healthy. Next, we have Dak Prescott, who we're going to put here in real potential. Of course, he has real potential to win in the playoffs, but he just hasn't shown it. He hasn't played very good in the playoffs at times. He has played good at times, but hasn't played well enough to win. And after the last 2 seasons, the way they ended, boy, he's going to need to overcome that. But now, he'll have a bona fide number 2 wide receiver, Brandon Cooks. And of course, hopefully get Michael Gallup can come back. CeeDee Lamb is still reliable. Tony Pollard, that's the number 1 starting running back. They can make some noise, but can they overcome their past demons? We'll just have to wait and see. Next, we have Lamar Jackson. I think we can put him above Dak. I think he's a better overall quarterback than Dak Prescott. And hopefully he can stay healthy and regain his MVP from a couple years ago. I'm not sure he can do that, but they have all the weapons in the world, hopefully with a healthy Rashad Bateman and OBJ. Hopefully J.K. Dobbins can stay healthy. Still have a great team, still have a great defense, great offensive line. It's just a matter of can they keep them healthy, and with the new offensive coordinator coming in, they're probably going to be able to throw a lot more, and hopefully it can be the difference, and they can make it further in the playoffs than they have in the past few years. Next, we have Derek Carr. Here, he has a real potential to take the Saints to the playoffs, especially in that division, as we'll have lots of good weapons. Olave and Alvin Kamara, and of course, Michael Thomas. I'm still unsure if Michael Thomas can regain what he had a couple years ago, but all the talking in camp is that they work well together, and we're going to have a great team. Hopefully that offensive line can stay healthy from last year. Last year wasn't good, and it'll just be good for the Saints to have a consistent quarterback week to week. Not have to answer who's going to start and who's not. It's going to be Derek Carr, and despite what we've seen from him and what we know what he is, he can lead the team to the playoffs and maybe make a little bit of noise, but it remains to be seen. We have Daniel Jones, who last year we saw can play at a potentially low-tier MVP level. It's just a matter of can he cut down on his mistakes. Brian Daboll's worked well with him. It's probably the best thing that ever could happen to Daniel Jones, like it happened with Josh Allen beforehand. Can he continue what he did last year? And can they keep Saquon happy? And hopefully Saquon can come back for less money for the next couple of years, because I'd hate to see what happens to the Giants without Saquon Barkley. I mean, Daniel Jones showed he can be a great quarterback, but a lot of it was because Saquon Barkley was healthy and was able to play all year long and play really well. And will have some good weapons for us. Darren Waller is there. Hopefully that'll help them. It's just a matter of can they repeat what they did last year, because that division is still going to be really good. Next, we have Justin Fields, great quarterback. Still has his issues with accuracy. He still lost a few games last year because of him, because he threw interceptions like in Atlanta and at home against Green Bay. Can he take the next step? Can he realize that all-world potential that everybody says he has? I think he can, but let's pump the brakes, Bears fans. Don't be delusional. Don't believe that your team can take first, to go from last to first. It's not going to happen. You're still going to be in fourth. Maybe, just maybe you finish in third, but that's if everything falls right. You're going to have DJ Moore. It's just a matter, can you get it to him? Because we've shown Darnell Mooney has supposedly been this good wide receiver, but Fields hasn't been able to get it to him. So it's a matter of can he get the ball where it needs to go and consistently, because we know he's an all-world athlete and can make all those plays. Can he throw the ball accurately on a consistent basis? Then we have Jared Goff, who we'll put above here. What we saw last year, I don't think is a fluke for him. And with that team getting better and better, it's just a matter of can the Lions realize their potential and avoid that 3 or 4 game losing streak that they have every year. David Montgomery is there. Gibbs will be there. And it's just a matter of can they realize their potential and play a full year. Plus, Jameson Williams will be out for the first 6 weeks, so that'll hurt. But Lions can win, but don't be surprised if the Packers aren't challenging them for first, and don't be surprised if you're sitting on the sidelines and the Packers are in the playoffs. Mark my words, it could happen. Don't be surprised if it does. Next, we have Kenny Pickett, a great quarterback in his own right. He showed a lot of real signs last year. Hopefully this offensive line can improve. I mean, there is talk that offensive line will be better. I mean, it couldn't be much worse than last year. The defense is still good. He still has weapons. Still like him to be the quarterback for the Steelers for years to come. It's a matter of can they keep growing? Can they keep improving? Can they put 2018 in those years behind them? Well, it remains to be seen. We have Jordan Love. I don't think he'll ever be Aaron Rodgers. Don't think he'll ever be that, but he can still be a good, serviceable quarterback in the league. And he has a great team around him, great offensive line, great running backs, a great young wide receiver core that's only going to get better and grow together. This is his rebuilding year in a sense, where this is his year to prove what he has, and if he plays really badly, then the Packers will just go back next year, select a quarterback, and then go from there. But this is his year to show what he can do, and although he hasn't lit up the world in practice, he hasn't done anything bad. He hasn't made too many mistakes, just hasn't made all the plays, but he's made some good throws, and he can get there, for sure. And this team has a great defense as well. This team can make the playoffs, they can win first place, and don't be surprised, Lions fans, like I said earlier, that they can win first and put you on the outside looking in, for sure. And of course, we have our first will win or lose you game with Baker Mayfield. This is probably his last spot where he could be a real starting quarterback. The head injury that he played through has hurt him so badly. If only he would have just taken the year off, recovered, and came back. It just hurt him so badly. He's shown he can win games, like against the Raiders, even though it felt so fluky. But he needs to win, because this could be his last spot. And if he gets replaced by Kyle Trask halfway through the year, that is not a good sign. This is not a good sign at all. We'll see what happens. And we'll put Andy Dalton. He can still win you a game. As we saw last year with the Saints, he can win games. He can maybe even almost get you to the playoffs. But he's almost towards the end of his career. And he's with the Panthers now. So if he's out there as a starting quarterback during the regular season, that means something bad has happened to Bryce Young. And that's not good for anybody. So he can win you some games, but can definitely lose you some games. Actually, he's one of the quarterbacks that doesn't really lose you a lot of games. He doesn't make too many mistakes. He's just consistent and solid. Hopefully, if he's out there, he can do good. But like I said, if he's out there for the Panthers, probably things have not gone very well. Sam Darnold can probably win you some games just because he'll be with the 49ers, and that team is just built, stacked from top to bottom. They're going to be good for years to come. I don't know what their quarterback situation. I still like Brock Purdy to be the quarterback for most of the season, but I don't know how healthy he is or not. Someone let me know. I haven't done a lot of research on that. Probably my fault, but I like Purdy to be the starting quarterback at least at some point this year, but maybe Sam Darnold starts out as a starter for the first couple weeks or so until Purdy is fully healthy. I just like him. It's either going to be him or Purdy for most of the year. I just don't like Trey Lance a lot. Next we have Geno Smith. We'll put him here, clearly at the top of the tier, because we saw what he could do last year. He played really well. He's going to have all the weapons in the world. And it's just a matter of, can he repeat what he did last year? Because we saw in the playoff game, if you watch that game film, the 49ers showed how to beat him. Just pin your ears back. and let him make the mistakes, because he's very capable of making mistakes. Just wait there, wait for him to throw an interception, strip the ball away. He can be had, but I think he can definitely lead this team, the Seahawks, to the playoffs again. It's just a matter of, can he be consistent like he was last year. And we're going to put Kirk Cousins here. We know what you're getting with Kirk Cousins. He can win you a lot of games during the regular season, get you to the playoffs, maybe even win you a couple games there. But winning and getting to the Super Bowl, no, I just don't think he has it. And this team is going to be different on offense. They lost Dalvin Cook, and who knows how Alexander Mattison can stay for the whole season. Of course, you have Jordan Addison added there along with Justin Jefferson, so that's always good. TJ Hawkinson, KJ Osborne. They have great weapons, but their defense lost some big pieces, and there's probably going to be an era of regression this year after all the games they won last year that were really close. But it's just a matter of, can they stay consistent? Can they finally get the monkey off their back and make the Super Bowl? Because they haven't for several years, and I just don't think Cousins has it in him. Next we have Sam Howell, who, yeah, I'll put him here. I just don't know a lot about Sam Howell. I mean, he did win a game at the end of the year last year, so that's good for him. But that team is just in such a flux. Josh Harris is probably going to bring in a whole new coaching staff next year. Riverboat Ron probably won't be there next year, and it's just a matter of flux. They have a great team, a great defense for sure. Can Chase Young come back from healthy for sure? That's the big question, but he's gonna have weapons. Jahan Dotson will be another year in, so he'll get better. Scary Terry is still there. And still Brian Robinson Jr., he's a great back. It's just a matter of, can they put it all together? And I don't think they can, to be honest. They just have a lot of uncertainty about the team, but at least Daniel Snyder is finally gone. At the very least, there's hope for the future. And maybe with the full year, he can show that he can be the future. Otherwise, he very well could be on a different team next year for sure. Then we have Jimmy G. I'll put him above here. I just don't know what we're going to get with him. Who knows if Devontae Adams will be a Raider all year? I think he might be with a certain other team at some point, or comment below and ask me what you think that is. But I just don't like the Raiders. Josh McDaniels is one of the worst coaches ever. Never should have been hired. I mean, you got rid of John Gruden for him. I mean, John Gruden was kind of a disaster at times, but I think he was a far better coach than what Josh McDaniels is. I mean, come on. And I just don't know what Jimmy G has. Can he stay healthy? That's a big question. I just don't think they have the greatest team in the world. Probably going to be fourth in the division again. And I just don't have much to say about him, to be honest. And we'll put Mac Jones here. Probably going to win the starting job, but he's on thin ice, man. Bailey Zappi could come in at any time, I'm sure. And they don't have the greatest offense in the world. They do have Ramondre Stevenson, of course. But the main reason the Patriots are going to be in it this year is because their defense is going to be solid from top to bottom. It's not going to be Mac Jones, but if Mac Jones can retain what he did a couple years ago, then they have a real potential to make the playoffs and maybe win a game or two. Probably not a Super Bowl, but they can get to the playoffs with Mac Jones as the quarterback if everything falls right and if he can get back to what he was. But I have my doubts, extreme doubts. Matt Corral, again, our first your season is already over. If the Panthers are looking at him as a starting quarterback, it's not good. I think he has good tools, and I think he could be a great quarterback. It was just, if only he would have went to a team that wasn't like dedicated to getting the next best quarterback, which was Bryce Young at the time, and hopefully he'll get another shot at another team. But until that happens, yeah, if he's out there, probably not a good sign. Same thing with Taylor Heineke. Again, if the Atlanta goes to him, bad things have probably happened for them this year. Will Levis, same thing. I don't even think he's that great of a quarterback. He showed some stuff at Kentucky, but he's just a weird guy, and he hasn't been the best in training camp. And if he's out there, boy, things have probably not gone well for the Titans. Same thing with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, I don't think he's going to play at all this year. And if you're dusting off Matt Ryan to be your quarterback, things have really not gone well. And Davis Mills. Last year, I was singing his praises. If you watch my videos last year, I was singing his praises because he could get yards. Sure, he throw an interception here and there, but they have a great team. But C.J. Stroud is obviously the answer. But so if Davis Mills is out there, C.J. Stroud has probably gotten hurt or things have not gone well. So that's not a good sign if he's out there. And we have Hendon Hooker. I think he showed a lot of promise last year in Tennessee. Sadly got injured, and I don't think he's going to play this year. I mean, Jared Goff is still there, so I don't think he's going to be able to uproot Jared Goff. But I think in the future, he's a real potential. If he was healthy, he'd be in real potential. And I think he can be the quarterback of the future for the Lions for years to come. I think he has great tools. He can escape the pocket, of course. He has a good arm. Not the best, but he can make all the plays, and he has a great quarterback vision. It's just a matter of he needs to focus on getting healthy, being ready for next year, and ready to challenge Jared Goff for the starting spot, which I think he can beat him out for when he's healthy. And we have Kyler Murray, who I think he's still a good quarterback, but it's just so sad what has happened since Tom Clements left as OC from the Arizona. When he first got there, or Kyler showed a lot of promise. He must have worked with them a lot because he did really well his first year and then even better his second year. Then Tom Clements left and went back to Green Bay, and they haven't really been able to place anything like that, and the team has gone slowly downhill. And now with DeAndre Hopkins, this team is probably going to be challenging for the number one spot and the right to draft Caleb Williams. So we'll see what happens, but I know they gave him a lot of money, but who knows? He could have an understudy as early as next year, and who knows? In the next couple of years, he could be replaced. And we have Brock Purdy. I think what he did last year was no joke. He was a Mr. Irrelevant, but with that team, I think he showed growth. He showed he can be a leader. Everybody has his back for sure, so that's always a good sign. It's just a matter of how healthy he is. I honestly don't know how healthy he is. Probably start out with Sam Darnold, but I like Brock Purdy to eventually challenge and get that spot back because I think he's the best option for the 49ers, clearly. But it's just a matter of can he get back healthy, because that team is going to be good. So this is a matter of him getting back ready to be the quarterback again. And you have Anthony Richardson, who I'm going to put him here. Maybe I'll put him higher, but yeah, Anthony Richardson, I just don't think he's the greatest quarterback in the world. I mean, just look at his career at Florida. I mean, yeah, he had some times, but it's not the most accurate player in the world. Yeah, he has great all-world skills, and he has all the physical attributes, and yes, he's shown signs in training camp, but let's actually see him on the field during the regular season, even preseason for that matter, against real competition, before saying he's going to be the greatest quarterback in the world. For fuck's sake, pump the brakes, guys. And what happens if you're wrong and he's a bad quarterback? It'll set the Colts back for years, and that franchise has been hurting for a while. But let's pump the brakes. He can win, but let's actually see it first before we proclaim him the best. Desmond Ridder, he's shown signs. I need to see more of him in the regular season. He has great skills, of course, great offensive team overall, great weapons, but I just need to see a full season from him before I can say he can be the next best thing. He does have potential, but let's see some more. Aaron Rodgers, of course, going to be a Super Bowl contender for sure. He can lead a team to the Super Bowl, but Jets fans, remember all the talk about him being a prima donna in Green Bay. That prima donna hasn't left, and you're in the honeymoon stage right now for sure in New York, but just wait until you lose some games, and then there's questioning, and then watch some players miss some balls, and then he doesn't throw them the ball anymore. I mean, like Matt LaFleur said the other day, the Jets are Green Bay East for sure. And he can definitely lead a team to the Super Bowl. Maybe he can reclaim his MVP form, but if you think he's just going to win you a Super Bowl for sure, I mean, look at that conference. Your team is not going to beat a lot of the teams there for sure. Let's pump the brakes first, guys. And next we have Russell Wilson, who I think he could regain some of his old form, but I think last year was what we're going to see from Russell Wilson going forward. Sad to say. And they've already shown they've been snake bitten this year with Tim Patrick going down, offensive lineman going down as well for the year, and that's no good. I mean, maybe Sean Payton can work with him, get him back to where he was, but I think the largely the thing that made Russell Wilson was that defense in Seattle. Seattle doesn't have the Legion of Boom. Things are completely different for Russell Wilson, and I think last year you saw what he actually really is, and going forward, you're just going to see more of that. But maybe I'll be wrong. Matt Stafford, I think, can get back to where it was a couple years ago. I mean, that team was just destined to fail. They were so injured. But maybe they can get back to where they need to be. Cooper Kupp is still a great wide receiver. And you know what Matt Stafford can do with the Cooper Kupp. And hopefully the offensive line will be better. Cam Akers will show what he did at the end of the year last year, this year for a full year. And they just won't be so injured. At the very least, they're going to finish above the Cardinals, who are clearly going to be in last place in that division. And I just like Matt Stafford to get back. I think he has at least one more good year left in him before he retires. CJ Stroud has great potential. Yeah, we'll put him here. We'll put Stafford here. Yeah, we'll put him here. Yeah, CJ Stroud has real potential for sure. He's going to grow with that team. That team has weapons for sure. Dameon Pierce is a legit threat to be a good running back for years to come. Now we know the value of that position, but CJ Stroud is going to work well with Dameon Pierce for sure. I do like them to win maybe 6 or 5 to 6 games this year, which would be an improvement over last year. I don't get where people are saying like, oh, they're going to be 2-15. They're only going to win like 3 games. That would mean they would have regressed from last year, and that's not a good sign. DeMeco Ryans is going to be a great head coach. He's really going to work well with that team, and is going to work really well with CJ Stroud for sure. But we just need to see him on the field first. Next we have Ryan Tannehill, who... yeah, why is Anthony Richardson here? Just maneuver some guys around. But yeah, Ryan Tannehill, I think he still has something left. They're going to have weapons there for sure. Traylon Burks, pairing him with DeAndre Hopkins will be great. Derrick Henry's still there. They're just going to need to be better than last year. And who knows if they can reclaim. I mean, they just had such an all-world losing streak to end the year, and that was really bad, really unfortunate. But I think he still has a little bit left. Not much, but enough to maybe win some games this year, but also lose some games, as we've seen in many times before. Next, we have Trevor Lawrence, who we'll put up here. Trevor Lawrence, great quarterback. We saw last year what a difference a coach can be for a young quarterback. And Doug Peterson worked well with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think there's any surprise why they went as far as they did last year. Sure, that playoff game was kind of a fluke in the way it happened, but Trevor Lawrence is going to be good for years to come. He's the next best thing. And with all the weapons he's going to have, hopefully Calvin Ridley come back to where he was before 2 years ago. And I think he's a legit weapon. He's going to be great. Evan Ingram is still there. Zay Jones is still there. That great combination. And Travis Etienne is still there. They're going to be great. And they have a real chance to go far in the playoffs for sure. And we have Kyle Trask. Oh, let's put him here. I just don't know a lot about him. And to be honest, I just don't think he's really all that off the snuff. Probably if he's there starting And for Tampa Bay, things have probably not gone well. Although you could probably throw him up here as well, just because, I don't know, him and Baker are probably equivalent. It's just that Haltress hasn't started any games yet, so need to see some actually on-game film for him. But I think he's just not the greatest quarterback in the world. Don't have much to say. And we have Trey Lance, who had all the tools. Then he got injured, and he really hasn't played a full year of football in like 3 or 4 years, something like that. I mean, there was COVID, and there was a year off, and then he got injured, or was drafted and he didn't start. Then he got injured after only 2 games, and I think he's just going to be a real injury risk for years to come. And he's probably the third best option between him, Brock Purdy, and Sam Darnold, sadly. But yeah, I don't have much to say. Maybe he can win some games if he gets in there just because the team is so good. But I have my doubts. Next we have Tua. Put Tua... we'll put Tua right here. The real issue with Tua is his injury history. Can he avoid getting concussed again? Because that would be really bad for his future career and his health in general. But that team is still great. That offense is so lethal. And he's going to be great for years to come as long as he can stay healthy. And if he can, that team can definitely win that division and make some noise in the playoffs because that offense is so good. And you have Deshaun Watson, who still is innocent until he's convicted in a court of law. You can't just say he's the worst person in the world. But yeah, I don't know what he has left. I'm hoping last year wasn't a fluke, but I have my doubts that it might be. I mean, he's still with the Browns. They still have some weapons. Still one of the best running backs in the league. I just know what we're gonna get from him this year. Hopefully, he'll be better, or he'll be replaced by the new guy that played so well in the Hall of Fame game, Dorian Thompson. Yeah, I think that was his. I forgot one of his names, but who knows what we'll get with Deshaun Watson. And Carson Wentz, if you're going with him, your season is over. He was just so robbed of his talent from that injury. It's a real shame what Carson Wentz has become and continues to be. Bryce Young, obviously, he's going to be up here. I gotta put Desmond Ridder here, just because he hasn't. He's at least started a game in the NFL. But Bryce Young has all the tools, and it's a good vote of confidence that, Carolina gave him the starting spot right away. So I think he's gonna improve. They're probably not gonna have the best season in the world, but because that division is the way it is, potentially they could steal a playoff spot. But I have my doubts. I just think he's just going to learn. He's going to grow. He's going to get better. Sure, his height may be an issue, but I think he has a real future in this league for sure. And last but not least, but maybe least, Zach Wilson, again, drafted by the Jets, 2nd overall. He should have went anywhere else but the Jets. And as a result, all the talent that he showed was just going to be wasted by the Jets because the Jets don't know how to manage young quarterbacks, and that media is so terrible. It's no wonder why he ended up the way he did. So there's my tier list. Comment below if you disagree. Comment below where you think I can improve. And if you want to call me an idiot, go ahead. As always, like, share, subscribe. And as always, have a great day, and God bless.